Hey guys, I'm Trui and I make streaming support videos. Stream smarter, not harder. Today I'm gonna show you guys my streaming setup. So before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tick the little bell icon so you get notified when I post another awesome streamer support video. So let's start with what you can see. The lights behind me. These lights here are called nano leaves. Basically what they are rectangular LED lights, and you can put them in any shape you want. I've got the standard package where there are 9 panels included, and luckily for me that was enough to make this steep. So what is so special about these lights, huh? Well, you can like turn them on and off with your phone, you can set the brightness, you can even like let them lit up on the music, so like if you do some music stream, it would be cool if they like go on and off at the same time as you play something. You can have them do a rainbow, but you can also like set them up to do something that like flash or something like that when somebody subscribes or follows or cheers with bits and stuff like that, so that's pretty awesome. Same goes for these lights on this side. These are called Philips Hue Lights, and the Philips Hue Lights also can do that. They can also cheer, go off with cheers and subscribers and that kind of stuff. But they're a little bit different than the nano leaves. These ones are a strip, but you can also have them in bulbs and all kinds of lights. So these are the Philips Hue LED strips right here. And to get these to work, you also need the Philips Hue bridge. I will leave all links in the description below so you guys can find them back really easily. But yeah, for this light you also need a Hue bridge, which actually connects this LED strip to the internet, and then with the internet you can also turn it on and off with the phone. And you can also turn them on and off with your Stream Deck if you have one. Ha ha ha! Look at that, I'm just pushing on the Stream Deck, it's not like magic or anything. And this right here is actually also a light, it's a Yossi, but I haven't turned it on yet. I need to like see if that works or if it's too bright for the stream or anything like that. I've not tested it yet, but it looks nice in the shot, okay? So now we're gonna continue to the lights that you guys can see. I've got 2 key lights right in front of me, right here. Most of the time when I don't use the green screen, one of them is on white and one of them is on yellow, which means that there is gonna be like a little bit more of a soft edge and a soft shadow on one side and a little bit more harsh light on one side. I think it's really nice to have like more light on one side than the other. Right now I'm actually having daylight coming in, which is actually the first time I'm doing that for a video, so premiere, I guess. Normally when the stream goes on, I block all the lights from outside, literally everything, and only go on artificial lights. So that's why it's important, if you don't use a green screen, to have like one brighter light and one softer light. And I like a little bit more of yellow light on my face, because then I don't look like a zombie, but more like, I don't know, that gives a bit of a warm tint, I would say. But when I do use a green screen, they're both on white, just because then the green screen itself, it's easier to chroma key out. Next up is the camera I'm using. The camera I'm using is the Logitech C920. If you're a streamer, or if you have looked into cameras for streaming, this camera is basically what almost everybody uses. On some streams it does look a lot better than on other streams. If you are willing to use this camera, if you are thinking of using this camera, the C920, what I recommend you do is get good light on your face. Right now I've got the 2 key lights like I just said before, but even if you have a desk lamp or something like that, make sure to point that on your face. Rather use soft light and harsh light, so if you use a desk lamp, make sure that there's like a white t-shirt over it or something like that. Make sure that they don't go hot though, because that can be really dangerous and I don't want that to happen to you. But if you use LED light, you should be fine. What you can also do is buy a softbox. Those will spread the light more even over your face than a desk lamp would do. I used to have a softbox as main light and a LED panel as soft light, but it was kind of in front of my door and really huge, so I decided to go for these key lights, which actually fit on my desk, and I can't just pee without like moving the whole, light setup. I would definitely recommend using the C920. If you want to go for like a little bit higher end, the C922 is also a pretty good camera. The Brio from Logitech is also pretty good. If you want to go higher quality than the webcams I just mentioned, you're gonna have to go for an SLR camera, and yeah, it's gonna be more expensive. Like, way more expensive. The microphone I'm using is the Blue Yeti stereo microphone. Also pretty known underneath streamers. I would say that like above 50% of the streamers would use one. They're pretty steady. The downside of them is that they pick up a lot of sound around things, so they will pick up like keyboard clickings and stuff like that, which is kind of a downside. So if you want to avoid that, go for a shotgun mic. Those don't have that. But if you go for a DSLR setup, things are getting more complicated. You also need a mixer and, well, things are getting a lot more complicated than just plugging in the Blue Yeti into your USB port. And to make the sound a little bit better, I have a pop filter and I have it on a shock mount and a boom arm, which basically if I tap on my desk, you hear it a little bit less because of the boom arm and the shock mount. And the pop filter will help it sounds with a P, so they don't pop too much. They sound better like that, basically. And those pop filters are just like 15 bucks. So I would highly recommend getting one of those because they're pretty cheap and they just improve sound quality quite a lot. And talking about sound, you also want some nice headphones. I've got Audio Technica headphones, which are actually meant for like listening to music more than gaming, but I really like them. Let's see, they're the Audio Technica ATH M30X. I did not know that out of my head, but you saw me you saw me look at that note, but you know, we all don't know that kind of stuff out of our head, right? Do we? Then we need some more things to game, and that's obviously a keyboard and a mouse. I've got a Corsair keyboard. It is the I need to like look again because you know I don't know this kind of stuff out of my head. I've got the Corsair Strafe Cherry MX Red. You know what I mean, right? Well, I leave the links down in the description, so you will be fine probably. And the mouse I have is the Razer Naga Hex V2, where you can actually get like the side panels off, like this. And you can, now I have the ones with the 12 buttons on it, but you can also get them with the MOBA 7, I believe, and you can also have them with only 2 buttons. So you can change them out. I just really like a lot of buttons, so I got the one with the 12, because the more buttons the better for me. And this all is laying on my Razer Overwatch mouse mat, because, well, I like Overwatch, and I also hate it, but, you know, I hate it and I love it at the same time. So I've got a mouse pad of Overwatch, because, you know, I'm a bit of a Overwatch fangirl as well. As green screen, I'm using the Elgato green screen. Oh, I love this green screen. I mean, it is a bit on the expensive side, so I have to warn you for that. But it is so easy to set up. If you need to move around a lot, though, I recommend not picking this one because it's pretty heavy. But if you're streaming in the same room over and over, just getting it to fold up and down, it's just really easy. So I recommend getting this one if you have the money for it and you don't have to move a lot with your setup. I had another green screen before, and getting that to set up was such a pain. And I just love this one because it's so easy to set up, and I can even talk with you guys in the scene without green screen, and then pulling it up and then have a green screen behind me when I'm gaming. So it's kind of like the best of two worlds, right? You don't want a background when you're gaming, but you also want a background when you're talking, you know? Best of two worlds. That's what this green screen can do. And the others couldn't because it was a pain to set up, and you can just like set it up in between. And then the next thing I have that I think that every streamer should get at least one or something like this is the Elgato Stream Deck. I'm saying something like this because if you have something that just has buttons and you can press them and they switch the scenes, that would also work. But the Stream Deck can do a lot of things and I really like that. For example, it can switch your scenes in OBS. So if you're playing a game, you can go to the be right back and stuff like that with your Stream Deck, which is really nice because you don't have to tap out of games and stuff like that. I really prefer that. I can also get my lights to go on and off. Also the Hue Lights from Philips. So that's pretty nice. You can let memes pop up. You can say things in chat with it. There's so many things you can do with the Stream Deck. And actually I made tutorials about them. So check them out up here in the YouTube card. And of course I also have monitors. If you are a streamer, I recommend getting at least 2 monitors, because if you have to game on one monitor and read the chat, it is, yeah, it's not great. Get at least a second screen. And to be honest, I would love a third screen, But you know, two will do, two will do. My main screen is an Acer screen. It's the K242HL. I just literally read that off my monitor because I don't know that out of my head. And the second one is an AOC G2460V. Also read that off the monitor. They both have their ups and downs, I have to say. They're both pretty cheap. The Acer one doesn't have any speakers built in, which I don't really need, so that's fine. The downside of it though is that the power cable is very wanky, and if you touch it then the power will go off, and getting it back to work is a pain. Getting it back to work is such a pain. So that's like really the downside of this one. Don't touch the power cable ever again, because otherwise it will turn off again the whole time. The downside of the AOC one, that one has inside speakers which aren't the greatest, but you know, I don't use them anyway. And for the occasional time, like bad speakers, I will take it. But the downside of this one is that sometimes it doesn't pick it up if you turn it on when your computer is already on. And if you turn it off when your computer is already on, then it will recognize as that it isn't plugged in anymore. And if you have like two screen setup and you turn off your computer and turn this one off, then it will not recognize that as screen anymore and will just put everything on one screen and will think that you just have a mono setup. And when you start up the computer again, your taskbar is on the other side. You need to like drag it back to the second monitor if you want it on the right one. So that's kind of a downside of this screen, but nothing too major. I really like the rest of the screen, and they were pretty cheap monitors, to be honest, so I can't complain. And then the computer itself I'm streaming from, I actually just built myself. I'm not using a duo setup, I'm just using a one setup right now. We're doing a lot on the Switch, so a duo setup wouldn't make any sense anyway, because we're already going through a capture card. To record things from my Switch, I actually use the HT60S from Elgato. What you need to do is just plug this into your TV, plug this into your Switch, get the audio cable to the TV, plug your headphones in, and plug it into your PC with the USB port, and you will be good to go. Well, you need to install the software as well, but you know, then it will just work. It's pretty easy and nice to set up, if you ask me. So the PC itself has an SSD in it, hard disk. We got a 750 watt power supply, MSI motherboard, which is the, let's see, Z270 Gaming Pro. So then as graphic card, we have the MSI 8GB, the 1080 GTX. It's a bit outdated by now, but it works fine. It works fine. I mean, I kind of want the new ones, but you know, they're pretty expensive, and this one works fine, so you know, I shouldn't complain. As processor, I use the i7 6700 series from Intel. That one is giving me the most problems, to be honest. Because it's the 6000 series, I think it has the most problems. i7 is totally fine for streaming, even if on a single streaming PC. But the 6000 series is just a bit older, not old, but older, and therefore it can keep up with my graphic card. So like, that is my bottleneck in my PC. It works, but you know, that's the bottleneck. And then the last hardware in my PC that we're gonna talk about is the RAM. I'm using Corsair 2x8GB RAM. It's a 2416. And software-wise, we streaming on Windows 10 because that's actually the only thing that the Stream Deck can support. The Stream Deck cannot support Windows 8. I used to stream on Windows 8, but because of the Stream Deck, I upgraded the system to Windows 10, and everything seems to work fine now. And then other software we use is Voice Meter Banana. This makes the microphone sound a little bit better, and also you can regulate the sound volume so my ears aren't gonna be blown up when I play a game, because you guys need to hear it too. I used to have a problem that for the viewers the sound volumes of the games were really low, and for me they were like blowing my ears off. And now with Voice Meter Banana I can regulate them, and I don't get deaf, and you guys can actually hear the game, so that's awesome. And of course the last software we use is OBS. I use Studio OBS, not Slops, because I really like that this is being kept up to date nicely. I'm using the overlay of Stream Elements though, where I can see the chat and read the past events, just like you would do in Slops. But this one is, I think OBS Studio is a bit more stable, And because that's the OG program, they also have their updates earlier than that Streamlabs OBS would have. And aside from that, I also use an external hard disk to collect all the footage I record for YouTube and just keep it all on there, making thumbnails on there, and everything I make I put on there, so I keep everything nicely together when I move from one place to another. I always have this hard disk with me where I, you know, so I have my footage and I can work on the footage wherever I go with the hard disk. And the last thing I'm using for YouTube is actually this camera, which is the Canon M50. I'm just using it with the kit lens, the 15-45mm one. And I think that's it. I think that's all the equipment I use. If you guys think that I forgot about something, leave it in the comments because, you know, I might have just forgotten about something. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, tick the little bell icon for notifications so you get notified whenever I post a new streamer support video, and I will see you guys in the next video.